You're going to edit a video with me on screen, and I'm super excited. I'm going to take you through my whole editing process. This is perfect if you don't have much experience or you're a beginner at editing. I'm going to be editing on Final Cut Pro, and I just want to show you that it is actually so easy. I'm going to share with you all the basics that you need to know to get your first video done. Before we get started, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Don't forget, I am on several different platforms. Take your pick because there's a bit for everyone. You like newsletters, you want to read, there's a bit of a mixture of that for you. If you want to see me on Instagram or TikTok or even my other YouTube channel, which is all about educational beauty, take your pick. There's something for everyone. Now let's get right into this and get started with this video. So first thing you want to do is open up Final Cut Pro. Now I'm going to be editing my intro and my outro of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and create a project. So you're going to go to File, New, Project. Now you want to make sure that all of your settings are correct. So this matches up with what I actually filmed in. So I'm going to name this How to Edit on Final Cut Pro. So, okay, now we're going to go ahead and click OK. Now we've got our project here. You can ignore these other projects here. These are just existing projects that I'm working on. We're going to go ahead and double click on this. Now we are sitting within this project. Now the next thing we want to do is actually bring over the files that we want to edit. So I'm going to click on this little arrow that faces down. It's just an easier way to import your filming, anything that you've actually filmed. And we're going to go ahead, find the footage that we want. So I'm going to go into Documents, which is here. Okay, I'm going to go into B11, which is the current video that I'm filming and editing. I'm going to go ahead and select my footage and also the audio because I always record my audio separate. Now we're going to import the selected files. And if we go down here, you're going to see that they've been imported. It's got it's got the date that it was filmed. So this is 2 files here. Now we need to synchronize these because I film my footage and my audio. I record that separately. I need to kind of combine the two together first. Now, if you don't do that and you film your footage and you record your audio all at once on your camera using the audio within your camera, then you don't need to do this step. But I do record my audio separate because it gives me much better quality audio. So what I'm going to do is synchronize these two. So I'm going to hit my right click and I'm going to synchronize clips here. Now I have to make sure that all of this is matching what my project was, which also is in turn matching what I filmed in. And we want to change the frame rate to 30 frames per second. We're going to hit OK. Now this is going to synchronize it and we're going to see it right here. Now I'm going to drag this down here and you're going to see that this is one long clip. Now I've recorded my intro and my outro within here and I probably went wrong a few times. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm on the right clip. I can tell this is where I actually started. So I'm going to show you something which I use, which actually really makes this much easier for me to edit. Now what I tend to do is click on my footage here, which I've done here. I then go ahead to this bit here and I click on this. And what this does, it actually makes the audio waves a little bit bigger for me to see. And then I also just kind of either expand or just kind of reduce the size of it. I like to keep it quite big. It's just a bit more kind of easier for me to see everything. Now, as you can see, this blank bit here is where I probably hadn't pressed start yet, and I pressed probably the recording audio way before I actually pressed the filming of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this section here. Now, what I like to do is edit based on my audio waves. So rather than watch through the entire video, which can be really time consuming, what I like to do is just kind of figure out where I did actually start, where I actually carried on. Because you can see here, I started and then I went wrong, so I stopped, right? So obviously you can't hear what I'm saying on this at the moment because you're listening to me as opposed to the audio from the footage, but I can tell because I've already watched this through briefly just to make sure. Now here is where I actually start And then you can see there's a few gaps every so often. And these gaps are generally where I've taken a deep breath, or I've just had a bit of a pause because I need to really kind of get my thoughts together on what I'm saying next, or it could be anything. Before I move on, what I want to do is actually sort the audio out. Now, because I already do this on a regular basis, I edit on a regular basis, I know what I need to do to change the audio. This will be very, very specific to your audio. So this isn't what everyone does. This is just whether it is right for your type of audio. So don't feel that you have to do this. Now, what I'm going to do is click on my footage, click on that there. I'm going to go up to this section here. Now, this is you can see it's a microphone kind of like, well, speaker kind of icon. We're going to click on that there. And what this is going to do is take us to all of the audio kind of section. Now, what we want to do, because we've already clicked on this, it's highlighted yellow. We're going to go ahead and click on equalization and also click on voice isolation. Now, generally what these two do is basically exactly what it's named. This will equalize the audio for you. So it'll just make sure it's all kind of like the similar kind of level and nothing's kind of like too kind of loud on one side and too low on the other side. So it kind of just generally keeps it kind of very balanced. And this section here, which is voice isolation, really helps to kind of just tidy up and clean up your voice. So it's not so kind of, you don't hear that kind of muffling as much. It's quite kind of crisp and clear. So I do this on every video because it suits my audio. That's all that really needs to be done. It can get a lot more technical than this, but honestly, I just want to keep this really easy for you guys and just show you what I do to work on my videos. Now we're going to actually move on to cutting the video. And this is where you can see my cursor is an arrow. We want to change that because what we want to do is cut. Now I'm going to show you an easier way to do this, but first off, I'm going to show you the proper way, which is basically you click on this section here. You can see all these different tools here. Now you can pick either of these to change your cursor to whatever this is, to kind of like do whatever you need to do. I'm going to keep it really easy for you. There's a lot more that you can do. It does kind of feel a bit complicated initially, so I just want to keep it really easy. There's so much more that I can teach you on this, which I will do later on. But we're going to go ahead to blade. You can see it's got the scissor icon there, and that's going to help us to cut things. So I'm going to click on that. Now very quickly, I just want to tell you that you can use certain kind of, on your keyboard, you can use certain shortcuts. So if I were to press P on my keyboard, that's going to take me back to the cursor. See? Now, if I press B on my keyboard, it's going to take me back to the scissors, to the blade, right? So that's just an easier way to do it. Now, what I want to do, can you see that this red line is moving along? Wherever we move the cursor, this red line is going. This is really good for you to be able to tell where you want to cut. Now, I'm going to cut right here, just before my audio starts. I prefer working with audio when it comes to trimming rather than listening as I go along. I listen to it kind of like after I've cut everything, basically. So I am going to go ahead and cut this here. Now, because this is cut, this is actually split the kind of footage in two. Can you see that? So now when I click on that, it only selects that. It doesn't select this. Now, what I want to do is select this and press delete on my keyboard, and that's going to get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to the end here. I can tell that I've kind of like left a gap in between this entire kind of like, every so often you can see a gap, and I haven't actually finished that beginning bit. So we're going to go here, because usually this little like kind of bump you can see here in the audio is usually just me taking a breath. I'm just kind of used to what it is now. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to cut there too. And I'm going to press on P on the keyboard so that I can select this and get rid of it. Okay, we're going to go back to blade, and I can tell that's where I said so. I say so a lot in between my gaps. So I've just like kind of learnt from editing my videos that there are certain words that I use to kind of fill gaps in, and sometimes there's still a gap even after I've used a fill word. So I'm going to go ahead and click here because I don't really need that so to be in there, because usually that's when I'm trying to figure out what my next thing is to say. Okay, so I've hit the blade button and I've cut it here. Now we're going to hit P on the keyboard, click here and get rid of that. Okay, now we're going to go along, and as you can see, we're working mainly on the big gaps here, right? We're going to go ahead and cut it here, press P, click there and delete, right? And then we're going to do the same thing here. Let's hit B on the keyboard, cut, press P, select, and we're going to get rid of that. Now, I can see this is the end of my intro. Now, usually what I like to do is put a little kind of like transition here. And I know that I need at least that much space for me to kind of fit that transition in. So I'm going to hit B and just cut here. Now, I know the rest of this is actually my outro. So we are going to leave a bit of a gap here because I like to have a transition just after as well. So I'm going to get rid of this. And we're just gonna, there you go, this is the end. And I like to leave a bigger gap here because my outro, which is usually my logo, kind of like takes up a bit of space there. So we're gonna go around here just before I take that blink there. Can you see as I'm moving it, we're kind of like seeing what's happening. So we're gonna get rid of that. Okay, so ultimately, right here in the middle, I'm going to click Option W on the keyboard, and this adds little kind of like kind of spacer for us, a little kind of like placeholder. So this is blank, and sometimes this helps because this allows you to kind of like visually see where you need to kind of like fill something in. You maybe need to add another clip or something, or, you know, maybe you need to do kind of like text overlay or something. Whatever it is, it helps you to figure out what you need to do there, that's not finished yet. So here is where we're actually going to put in this screen recording of what I'm doing currently, because I'm actually recording this on my screen as I'm going along, and, you know, recording my audio on my microphone, which is connected to my laptop, and that's going to go right here, right? So I'm going to just slot that in afterwards and get that done. Now, ultimately, what we want to do is kind of go along and see, are there any other kind of big gaps? Obviously not as big as what we've been working with, but a little bit. And I can see here, there's a bit of a, can you see right there? I take a deep breath. So what I want to show you now, you saw that I just kind of like expanded that. Now what I did was I had 2 fingers on my mouse, on my kind of trackpad on my laptop. And I've kind of like expanded it that way. Can you see that there's this kind of like grey line next to my red line? That means it's expanded quite a lot. We don't really want to see that grey line because that makes it a bit too precise. I just want to have it about there, because if you have a grey line there, what happens is then when you cut, it's not as precise because we've zoomed in so much. So I think that's about right there, right? Okay, so you can see we've got that little gap there. Hit B, cut. We're going to get the P, click on that and delete. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with any other gaps that we have. I feel like we're going to leave that as it is. This one we can really get rid of. It's unnecessary, because if you see that there's a gap and there's no kind of like audio wave there, you're not really going to hear me taking a breath, right? Because it's probably, I don't know how I actually didn't take a breath there, but you know, you wouldn't see anything there. But because you can see something there, you will obviously be able to hear me taking that deep breath, and I don't like hearing that like within my videos, so I want to get rid of that. We're going to do the same thing over here. So anywhere there's kind of like medium size kind of gaps where it's unnecessary. So I think we can leave that because I'm kind of in the middle of smiling or something. I don't know what I was doing. So we're going to also leave this because I don't want there to be such a drastic change. Like if I'm in one position and then right after that breath I'm in a different position, I feel like it's too much of a jump. So if I'm kind of moving position at the same time as taking a breath, I usually don't kind of like take that out. So I'm happy with that first intro bit. Let's go along here and just have a look here as well. We're going to take this out here. We're going to get rid of that. And I think we've probably got one more here. Yeah. So we've got rid of that. You don't have to be as precise as this if you don't want to, but you know, this is how I like to do it. So, okay, next up, what we're going to do is we are going to add some kind of like overlays that I like to add. So I have my assets over here, as you can see up here where I'm kind of placing my cursor. I've got my assets here, which is usually my kind of like, you know, assets that I've kind of already put together for my channel. So what I want to do is use the kind of Instagram one, which I usually use, which is here. And I usually place that there. Now you're going to see this pops up there. I've already input my information on there, and I use assets from different places. I usually get them off Motion Array, I think it's called FX. I'm not too sure, but it will be in my description. Now I'm quite happy with that. So what I want to do is kind of have a bit of a kind of zoom in. So what I want to do is click on this, and I want to click up here to this film section. Now I'm going to create a keyframe here. So you've got to make sure it's on position, right? And you've highlighted the actual kind of footage. We're going to go down here to scale because we want to change the position and scale of it. So we're going to go around here. We're going to go about here because I want it to be quite quick, right? Then we're going to hit that again. And this time we're going to actually change how close it is. And I think that's Good, 125%. Now let's watch this. There you go. See how quickly that goes in? And until my next cut, which is up here, it's going to stay like that. Unless you decide to kind of change the size of it and kind of zoom back out. But I'm quite happy with that. So I'm happy with that going back to normal there. I think that's more or less what I want to add here. Okay, so this section here is where I talk about subscribing to my channel. And I know that because I just listened to it a second ago. I'm going to press play and just hit the kind of like put the audio on so that you can actually hear what I'm saying, and then you'll understand what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be adding an asset on top of this, which is what you usually see in my videos. So let's go ahead and play this so you can listen to this.
If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos.
Okay, so I'm going to just turn that on mute for a second. We started right here. That's where it starts from. Now, I've already created an asset a while back that I use in all my videos, and you're going to see how this looks, and it's actually timed perfectly with when I say it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this here, and it starts just as I start talking there. Now, I'm going to just unmute this so you can listen to this and see how this kind of like pans out and also works really well with what I'm saying and how it kind of synchronizes quite well.
If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos.
There you go. I'm talking again. So I'm talking about my different platforms that I have. So what I like to do here is figure out where I want to apply this. So I'm going to go ahead and press play.
Don't forget, I am on several different platforms. Take your pick because there's a bit.
There you go. So I'd say I want to go about here where I just say platforms. Now this is where I'm going to be adding another asset where it talks about different platforms that I'm on. Let's have a look. Let's find this. Here it is. We're going to put this here, and it's pretty short to be honest because I just wanted to keep it snappy, but I'm going to play this and let you hear this out.
All different platforms. Take your pick because there's a bit for everyone. You like newsletters, you want to read.
There you go. So as you can see, that has the asset on there, and the rest of this is kind of like done. I'm going to show you very quickly what this looks like when you put the transition in, and this is the transition I usually put. So I've just got rid of that kind of like marker point there, and I go to movements and I go to slide. I put this slide in and I reduce it to roughly, I'd say about 10 or 11. There you go. Now then what I do is I add a sound which I have got off of Epidemic Sounds, which is the platform that I use for music so that I can not have to worry about kind of copyright. And I place that right there. Can you see where the kind of like audio wave is on this thing that's hovering here? I make sure that's right in the middle. And then I bring the volume right up, and I'm going to show you this transition that I have that I use in all my videos. So obviously in place of this here, there would be my whole screen recording that I'm going to be doing, but obviously I'm filming that at the moment. So I'm just going to show you the transition that goes from my intro into screen recording and then back into the transition and then back into the outro. So this is my transition. I'm going to play that again so that you can listen to it with the audio on because there's sound with that.
This video.
See how that sound kind of like goes really nicely with that movement. So I'm going to get rid of this because obviously we want to include what I'm actually currently kind of like filming. I'm just going to go and put that like kind of marker point there again. And there you go. That is that beginning bit. Now this end section, I want to show you what my outro would be. So my outro is in the assets folder, and here it is. And we're going to just place this here. Now, even though that's a big gap there, I'm going to show you what I do with that. So I go over to all, I go all the way to the top, cross dissolve, I place it right there. Now, it says that there's not enough extra media beyond this clip to create this transition. It's fine. Carry on and create this transition. What that usually does is clip quite a bit from your kind of video, which is why I leave such a big gap there. But I'm going to show you now how this looks. There you go. See that cross? It just fades, that crossfade just fades into this so it doesn't look so kind of harsh. It just very lightly fades. There you go. And that basically, guys, is my video done. That is my whole kind of intro and outro done. Once I have finished this, I am just basically going to add the screen recording that I'm currently recording, place it right in the middle there, and that's what you'll currently be watching. I will let you head on to the outro. So I hope you've enjoyed this and seen how easy it is to actually edit your first video. If you have any other questions about it, please do let me know in the comments box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.